Aloha and welcome to All Good Things in All Good Time, where it's always a good day to be alive and it's all good. Just experienced every man's dream come true, and that is I just threw the football with my son and had a swim, which is nice. And he's going to start his new job this week, it looks like. We heard back from the GM, and so that's exciting. I'm gonna fly to California and arrive at Oakland. If you don't know, well, there's so many little things that I don't have here, but I really want to tell you, and this is one of them, of course. Oakland Airport, best airport in America. So I just got a round trip ticket to Oakland, $280. $280. All right, so I'm just saying, like, that's pretty good. And then, I haven't booked my car yet, but wait till you hear how great of a deal I'm gonna get on a car. It's gonna be really good. So, that's gonna really help the cost of my 10-day trip. I'm gonna go visit my mom, try to spend a lot of time in the hospital room. And then when I'm not there, I'm going to try to do things that, are positive, happy. Many happy things as I can when I'm not, in an otherwise unhappy predicament. So, but also happy. I mean, I'll be glad to be there with her. I'm going to bring my new laptop. And maybe I'll get some writing done if I stay overnight. And that's kind of what I'm thinking I'd like to do, is stay overnight. Anyway, life is good. I'm lucky to be alive. I'm going to avoid the unhappy, frustrating topics till the end. Because I don't want to be a crab baby. All right, so drivesavers.com can save your hard drives, materials, if they did not get to 1400 degrees, which is pretty hot. It's pretty hot. I found a bunch of things that were made of silver. I think silver melts at 1700 degrees. So I know the fire didn't get to 1700 degrees, so maybe it didn't get to 1400 either. And the most recent, some of the most recent news in different ways is what's going on with what they want to do with the ash and all the debris, which is, of course, toxic, right? There's a lot of stuff mixed in there. A lot of it's wood, but a lot of it is, batteries, pesticides, and God knows what burned up in there, right? So, what they want to do, which just doesn't make any sense. Something that I guess has apparently never been done before. No one's ever moved a bunch of toxic crap to one place and then to another, right? Which is what they want to do. And they want to go put them in a place where there's farms, like all the good tomatoes in all the restaurants and hotels and grocery stores. All our local good tomatoes are grown in Olowalu, where they want to bring all the ash, 400,000 tons, I think I saw, maybe is the number. And so there's been protests about that. There have been some very strong words. An example, that would be a woman at the city council meeting saying, "This blood is going to be on your hands." And so, because it's going to affect people's health as well, and well-being, and so yeah, they I guess should take it to our normal dump in some sort of a safe manner. I don't know. So that seems like what they should probably do. But yeah, so that there have been protests on the highway and at the city council meetings. Again, that guy Maui Alerts is when you watch him, you'll understand. He's just a straight shooting journalist going after whatever the story is, showing it to you. So, and he's going to be good at going after. He's part of the group of journalists that are going after the Freedom of Information Act stuff that everyone would like to see. And then it was in the national news just recently on MSNBC. They did a story about Lahaina town and how the Attorney General is suing to try to find out what went on with the power. And they interviewed a woman who used to run the emergency center, and she explained some stuff. And so and so they were going after kind of what a lot of people are going after, which is why did the fire start? How was it preventable? Who was running the emergency command center, and what were they doing, and all that sort of thing. I think a lot of these questions and so on, and what happened, who was telling who to do what, and was there none, and all that stuff. So that's what's going on there. And then in our local news, there's all this talk of all these people meeting, and I'm not talking about necessarily West Side people. I'm talking about like government people and business people getting together, trying to find out how we're gonna responsibly, rebuild, bring back the tourists and all that. And on the cover, I think it's supposed to look good. Is it just people doing acts of good? Is there greed in there? I don't know. I'm just watching. I don't know what's going on. And then, helpingmaui.org has explains the 3 programs that they're working with to try to help people create housing. So I think I mentioned this a little bit before, but like, how come no one's ever, asked the simple question, like, what can we do to try to incentivize selling your property from here to someone else from here, right? How could an incentive program be created that would create a benefit for selling your properties to people who are from here, right? People who are working here, people who live here and are already part of this community, right? Or people who were born and raised here, right? If they want to move back, put them on that priority list, incentivize it, maybe make it so that if you can find a way to accomplish that goal, you make a little more money somehow from the sale of your house or something. I don't know, right? Could be a lot of creative solutions to that question, but how come no one's ever asked that question? What do we got to do to incentivize just selling your property to somebody from here? Plain and simple. Or somebody who was, born here, went to high school here, stuff like that. So that's a question, And then, of course, why don't we just thank America's workforce by creating spaces where we build communities of tiny homes. There's prefabricated tiny homes for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 grand, right? Just put them up in a day. Build a little infrastructure, get the land donated by county, city, state, federal, private people, go out there working to try to get land, give it to the workforce, allow these places to be built, and then sell it to them at cost. Do you realize, okay, well, interest rates are 6.6% right now. So if it was $100,000 at the end of the day, right, the mortgage would be $660 a month, right? $600 a month mortgage, right? where you get the tax benefits and you get the pride of owning your own little place. And I mean, imagine we could just build, and it would pay for itself. Just sell it at cost, right? Have it cost, ends up net cost zero, right? And at the end of the day, and we could do that here, of course, for all the people who are from here. Just do, and don't make it credit dependent. Of course, that's my vested interest. But don't make it like a used car dealer where you're like, hey, if you got a job, come on down, we'll get you in a house, right? And just make it rent to own for 5 years. Make them prove themselves by paying their rent mortgage for 5 years perfectly. And they'll do it. They'll work their ass off. They'll pay their mortgage. And then 5 years later, you roll it into a mortgage and bam, you make homeowners out of us tragedy, and for many people, right, who are injured by the fire or who are elderly, right, and make the elderly the priority, of course, and then also incentivize it for people who've moved to the mainland to come back, right, and get them at the top of the list. And the most time you spent here, give you the highest place on the list, which will also cater to the oldest people. So we'll get all the old people dying in dignity in their own little homes, right? That's all anybody wants to have at the end of their life. And everybody else in the country, in the world. And we just don't have to build big places, just a lot of little ones, and then just let them work and pay for it, and then create a guaranteed work program. And we're willing to work. The minute you lose your job, bam, you can just plug into that, and bam, you're working, doing something to pay your mortgage, which, if it's small, right? And then if interest rates go down, to 3%, that'll be a $300 a month payment for $100,000. Okay? So, I mean, imagine, how little you would have to make to be able to have a pretty decent life. And that's the problem with our housing. That's why we have homeless people everywhere. They had a $1,800 a month rent, and it went up to $3,000, and they couldn't afford it. They've been homeless ever since. There's a lot of stories like that on the streets. So, anyway, it's so funny because I constantly hear all these people, oh, we got to try to figure out a solution to this. That's it right there. It's real easy. It pays for itself. Cater to anybody that works, right? If you got a job, come on down. Let's get you in a house everywhere. Let's build. Till everyone's got it. Till there's nobody without a house that's willing to work, even just a little bit. Part-time work probably help you accomplish this. So, yeah, anyway. That's my big idea. Let's see. Everybody loves Taylor Swift. It's pretty fun watching the conservatives try to report on her because she doesn't. I can't believe she doesn't believe women should have their rights taken away. Oh my God, boy, have they stepped in it. I tell you what, women are rising up. We got to rise up, women. Make sure every woman votes, okay? Because they're the ones who are going to save this country. Seriously. None of that ego bullshit, or less of it, usually. God, these guys wanting to fight each other and shit. Oh, it's just so crazy. So, let's see. Thank you for all your kindness. It's been unbelievable. It's like, my son says to me, like, Dad, he's like, Dad, because after he made those 2 videos where he filmed them, he then looked at them a little bit, saw the comments, and that's the first time he'd ever engaged in my channel. Right? He didn't ever seen it. It's just stupid. So he sees these comments and he's like, holy shit, like there's all this kind support, and a lot of it was towards him, and it's like there's this, what if there was like not just 5,000, but like 5 million people, like an army of people that were that just wanted to make the world a better place, and were super sweet, like all these kind people that seem to want to watch this channel. It's unbelievable how seems like wonderful people watching my channel are. So yeah, that's cool. I really dig that. And I also enjoy the fact that the majority of them are really kind ladies, women, just beautiful people saying the nicest things. And so, yeah, doing the nicest things. And so anyway, it's pretty exciting. So my son says to me, yeah, it's like, Dad, like, it's because I have, my kids are little. After, having to pay for a whole new household here that was big enough for my kids, and the amount I was able to make, and I paid their mother, even though I was the one that stayed home and changed the diapers. And so, yeah, I haven't had no money to buy a girl a cup of coffee for 10 years. And I also my dad never was faithful and left his family for, the 100th woman, and then ended up, just disinheriting his whole family. And so the last thing I want to do is take anything away from my time with my kids by being in a relationship. Also, it's another satisfying aspect to not being in a relationship is there's just never anything between you and your kids, right? Which is pretty enjoyable. I like to just be generous to them as much as I can be. So, anyway, he says to me, Dad, man, it's been so long, because I got a divorce like 14 years ago. Haven't really been on a date since. So he's like, sorry, because he's just like, he's like, man, you're getting all this support, all this love. It's been a long time since you got any love from anybody other than me or your mom, and or my daughter. And so it's just kind of funny, and it's true, but it was just a funny insight to hear that. And he's like, man, this is like, you've never gotten therapy, like, it's because it's so therapeutic, it's so good for you, you know what I mean? Like, it's really healthy to hear nice people